Coming to you live from a garage in Gainesville, Florida, like two muertos de hambres, it's El Cuban Dudes Show with Andy and Abel. From the 305 to the 352, from Miami to Gainesville to Orlando to Tallahassee to Jacksonville and beyond. It's time for El Cuban Dudes Show of Florida. Dale. Boy, have we had a hell of a day.
Woohoo!
Have we had a hell of a day.
Can I get an amen?
Can I get a name? Can I get a name, man? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've got Rick Naranjo on with us today.
And we're off.
If we're gonna crash and burn, goddamn it, we're gonna crash and burn right.
Yeah.
Today has been a fucking disaster, guys. We'll tell you guys about it, I think, now here during the episode. I think it's warranted.
Welcome to live TV, putos.
Welcome to live television. No, more like live streaming. But yeah, it's been just a fucking mess. We had we tried to get Rick on. So Rick was going to be on with us live today, but we figured it made no sense. He's still under the
He's in Kabul.
He's in Kabul. No, he's doing his Sweet 15s thing. He has to prepare for his show. It starts at what? At 8:00?
8:00.
So I'm like, coño, let's get Rick on at 7, which is our usual time.
Right.
But then I felt bad for Rick. I was like, Rick, coño, you're doing us the favor to be on. Let's just jump on at 6. You know what I mean? We'll do the interview.
Right.
And then we'll run it, which is what we're going to do. And then we'll run it during the show.
Okay.
Pero fuck, bro, we couldn't get Rick on. Rick was trying to get on with us. He couldn't. His video wasn't working.
Un fucking desastre.
Abel was lagging. They kept dropping off the fucking internet. The chickens were chirping.
Chickens for the first time. I thought those things were fucking dead. I thought you were fucking with me. Those things started acting up. Wait till you guys hear that shit.
So we have like 8. What is it, like 8? I think it's 8, right? We have 8 little baby chicks that we have inside.
Oye, vaya, te contestaron.
We have little baby chicks that we have inside of a container thing here that we're raising, you know, before they get big enough to be outside. And they've never made a peep. Literally, they've never made a fucking peep. And today we have MADTV writer, fucking in living color guy,
Yep.
Latinologues, Sweet 15s,
That guy that actually told J-Lo.
General Hospital.
Yeah.
The guy who told J-Lo stop shaking your ass and become an actress.
Yeah, dude, guy's big.
The guy is big. Okay, that's what she said.
Oh,
and we're over here fucking, we can't get him on. The chickens are chirping. Abel is dropping.
and lagging.
And to make matters even worse, so we finished the interview with Rick. The interview is done. I go take a major piss because I had to go so bad.
I mean, if you would want a pan so you can see that 12-pack you just fucking hit there.
Yeah, well, I've got here 1,
Two,
3, while talking to Rick, right? And that one's still going. But so I come back and Abel is like packed up, ready to fucking go. And he's like, now you're just play that. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? We got to do the show. So Abel had to like open his laptop up. He had to like reset everything. Go, oh, dude, what a mess.
No. Pero bueno, you know, that shit made some funny. I wish we would have been recording this like behind the scenes shit, so people see everything that we go through to give them this 1 hour show.
We need to have like a third camera here, just kind of coming from top down,
Mm-hmm.
so people could see
La locura,
la
bro.
locura que se forma in this fucking garage that we're filming in whenever things just don't go right. Because when things don't go right for us, man, they go really bad.
Oh yeah, it's April 25th, the last day of this fucking Mercury retrograde. Oh yeah, Chapayan.
Didn't we say we wanted to have some guy on the show that was like a guatemalteco?
Sí, we needed like muchas flores blancas.
Which is go mucho
Mucho
amor. So I'm gonna go over here and load up this whole thing for you guys with Rick. And you know, we did have an interesting conversation. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to be on camera with us. You know, he had and then on top of that, Rick calls us, right? And you'll hear what happens because we haven't edited it, right? We haven't edited it. So Rick calls us, and then Rick ends up dropping like 2 or 3 times.
You guys will get to hear the raw call, baby.
Yeah, this is unedited. I haven't had any time. I mean, we just literally got off the phone with Rick, so we're over here just jumping straight to the show. But yeah, man, it's just been one of those days. Like I said, man, when it rains, it pours. And it doesn't help. And I've mentioned this before, I think.
What?
Doesn't help the fact that Abel is running on a laptop that was built. I think
You may be
I
onto
think
something there, man.
the Constitution of the United States of America was written on Abel's laptop.
For sure. Cristobal Colón, vaya, brought that shit over.
Yeah, on the boat. They use that shit to paddle the boat.
They use that shit to paddle the boat.
Yo, bro.
So any of you guys that want to contribute, because we need a laptop.
Yo, bro.
Oh, yeah,
It's
no shame in this game.
It's a laptop that honestly looks like the sandwich press we used to use to make.
Bro, it does. You know, now that you bring that shit up, de verdad, aquí caben por lo menos 4 medianoche. Y échale mantequilla, por favor.
Oh my god, dude.
Ni que más jamón, así como viene el sándwich.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, anyways, without further ado, here we're gonna jump on to the interview that we had with Rick. So, remember, guys, this is unedited. This is straight up. We have Carlos Phoenix saying, "I met Abel at the show in Miami."
What's up, Carlos? In the house, ladies and gentlemen. Carlos Phoenix. Go check out his website, guys. He's got good stuff.
Yeah, he had the pleasure of meeting the great Abel Cepeda
with all his imperfections.
With all his imperfections and his salt and pepper baby.
And his salt and pepper baby. Hey guys, call us at 352-234-4888. Llama porque te voy a dar una clase sazonada, mi brother, porque estamos empingados.
Yeah, bro. Today's honestly just one of those days, like fucking just bring it. Like, yeah, just bring whatever the fuck, man.
You want it, you got it, baby.
Dale. So here we go. Rick Naranjo's interview. All right, so today's guest is an award-winning screenwriter, director, producer, actor, and sketch comedian who has written for some of the biggest shows in comedic history, including MADTV and In Living Color. He is also responsible for creating the award-winning and nationally recognized Latinologues, a play which opened up in Broadway back in 2005, which tackled Latino stereotypes with a sweet comedic touch. He's now responsible for bringing us Sweet 15, Quinceañera, a unique and immersive experience that makes the audience feel like they're a part of the Sweet Sweet 15's debacle. It's been heralded already as one of the best shows and unique experiences in Miami. The show is now running until the end of this week, so please go get your tickets now at sweet15show.com. It'll be there until, I'll be there this Saturday to enjoy it all myself as well. I know Abel's already been there.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's for sure. Let's welcome to El Cuban Dude Show, the one and only Mr. Rick Najera. Rick.
Hey, Cuban Dude. How you guys doing?
Hey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Rick. And I'll let the audience know just in case, because we will play this during our live show this evening, that we have Rick on a phone call. Rick is out in out in Afghanistan covering the war. Is that right, Rick?
I'm outside of Kabul. Part of my other job is to be an overseas correspondent, and I know how to travel because I travel to Miami. I get a passport to visit every year, and I've been out in Miami. It's incredible. I love that city. And a chance to be a part of South America, I always look forward to
it. Yeah, that's excellent. That's perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better transition right there.
He's right about
he's a Mr. Rick is definitely, of course, and we know this, very much a pro. Rick, how should I refer to you, sir? Should I refer to you as Mr. Rick Najera or Mr. Rick Naranjo? You let me know.
Yeah, I like Naranjo. I mean, I talk about myself in the third person always. Like, he is happy to be on your show, all that sort of thing. So I don't know. Choose whatever. I mean, my pronoun is he and dude. So
I love
it. How that works.
Your pronouns are Mexican and dude. Is that okay?
Yeah, Mexican dude. The Mexican, the vato loco.
The vato loco.
That's awesome.
Vato loco. And my gang name was actually Slow Guy for a while. And like, I didn't know why they called me Slow Guy because I was like confused. But they called me Slow Guy. That was my gang name. But actually, to be honest, I never joined a gang because I failed the written test.
So my goodness.
I was a winter. So I just wrote wrong colors.
That's so funny.
You didn't study hard enough for that one.
Yeah, I've been turning over stereotypes all my life, and
we're definitely
working in Hollywood. I looked at it and I was like, I want to tell a real Latino story, and that's what Quinceañera Sweet 15's about. It's playing at the Renaissance, or an actual quince hall. So you go into this and you have this experience, and it's very funny. but I believe with all my heart that Latinos are the solution, never the problem. And
Amen.
so many times in the media we're seen as the problem. You know, oh my God, they're crossing the border. Oh my God. And I'm Mexican. We didn't cross the border crossed us. And that has been, we've said it from day one. I grew up in San Diego, like 15 miles from the actual border. I could see Mexico outside my window. And, you know, it's part of our character and culture. And that's what I love about Miami. This is a Cuban town. And this play, I've Cubanized it to make it very much speak to Cubans.
Yeah, let me ask you a question about your upbringing in California. Was that something that was like a fun-filled Mexican adventure, or did the family or did the family struggle to make ends meet out there?
No, we struggled. I mean, you know, to be honest, I mean, it wasn't that I was. My parents worked 5 jobs. I
Wow.
mean, one thing about Mexicans, you know, we work. I mean, we will work, and I think the Cubans have the same work experience. I think all of us do as Latinos. That, you know, if there's a job, we'll take it. And my dad worked 3 jobs, and my mother worked 2, and so I would barely see them but on the weekends. And it was a struggle, but I think the struggle is what makes life sweeter. So I don't look at it as a struggle. I look at it as just reality. You never know you're poor until you hang out with rich people.
That's right.
Like I was like that. You know, it's like they would say, "Hey, show me the pain of the barrio." So I hear that a lot. Show me the pain of the barrio. And
Yeah.
I'd say, "There's no pain in the barrio. We all get along really well. It's great. I mean, what are you talking about? These are my friends, my family." So it's when you leave the barrio, that's where the pain is. It's going out to some place where you're not either welcome or accepted or understood. And that was the case of, you know, not welcome, not accepted or understood. And I made a point to change all that in the media.
Well, what ended up driving you to into the arms essentially of Hollywood? What started the spark for you to say I want to become, you know, an actor, a writer? What got you in that direction?
Well, what got me in the direction, of course, was, you know, Desi Arnaz. I'd watch him on TV as a kid, and I saw a character that I could relate to. So that was. I mean, I'm sure so many people were inspired. And it was the #1 sitcom in the country at the time. In fact, more people watched Desi Arnaz "I Love Lucy" than the presidential inauguration at that time. So it was huge. But this was a man that was innovative. This was a man who invented the sitcom. This is a man, and he also had a lot of love. He had a lot of love for Lucy, and that's true of the Latino experience. We have a lot of love for our family, and that's what I wanted to see. When I started acting, first began acting, I was a classical actor. I was Shakespeare. I was all these great roles. And then once they found I was Mexican, it was like, okay, you wanted to audition for a gangbanger.
Hmm.
And I think, I was just playing classical roles. Well, now you want me to audition for a gangbanger. And in me to play a gangbanger was a stretch. I mean, it was a total stretch. And I was doing it in movies and TV shows. And that's when I said, I'm going to write my own role. That's what took that over. I said, I'm going to write my own story, and started writing. And I worked with Whoopi Goldberg, people like that, who were telling their story. And so I wanted to tell my story. And then that led to Living Color, because Keenan was doing the same thing, telling his story. You know, Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Lopez, all these people I worked with were really about telling their unique story unapologetically. And I wanted to tell my story. And that's how the writing started, and the writing took off.
Did when you were out in California and you started your trajectory there, um, did being Mexican essentially in California help? Like, did it kind of help? Like, because I'll give you an example. I lived in Vegas for 2 years, and I once had a lady in Sun City ask me what part of Cuba Mexico was in. Excuse me, I have that backwards. What part of Mexico Cuba is in? And
Yeah.
that was shocking to me. I was like, well, what? You know, and it's funny because it was after her complimenting Cuba and how great Cuba was, which I just thought added insult to injury. So, however, in a way, do you think it would have been harder for you out in the West Coast if you would have been, say, Peruvian, Argentinian, Ecuadorian, or something along those lines?
No, because they don't look at Mexicans as Mexicans. Even Mexicans don't help out Mexicans. That's the weird part about it. There's a lot of invidia within our culture. So what I like about Cubans actually try to help each other out. So they're more of a minority in Hollywood. So I had a lot of Cuban friends and other groups. I, came from the world of, we're Chicano or Mexican, but I also sat there and said, that's not enough. We need to be Latino. We need to include other ethnic cultures in our world, because it's not just pure Mexican. Like I would create characters that saw Latinos. My first play was Latins Anonymous. I created a 12-step program for Latinos in a play, and I kept playing that because although my cousins were related to Cesar Chavez, they married in their family. I grew up very Chicano Mexican, but I saw a bigger picture that to be Latino and to include Cubans and Guatemalans and other groups, because those are our stories too. And I see the similarities between us all and differences. So you could say, okay, it's not going to help me to be Mexican. What it is going to do is give me a struggle. And that struggle, it depends what I do with it. It's either going to make you stronger, like Nietzsche said, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger.
Right.
Or you'll break under it. And for me, my father loved Mexican culture and Latino culture. And he would say, if you could do that, you'd make me very proud of you. And so I never denied my culture. I relished in it. And I find when you really relish your life and love who you are, because Latinos inherently are many things. Cubans have, Taino blood, black blood, all these different bloods in there. Mexicans have mestizo blood, Aztec blood, Olmec blood. Almost most Mexicans are 60 to 90% Native American.
Yep.
In other words, they come from indigenous tribes. So I say, don't hate any part of you, love it. I love the fact that I'm an amalgamation of many cultures and worlds. And look how that makes me able to speak to different worlds and different cultures.
But when you first started, Rick, were you concerned or paranoid when you were starting to climb your ladder that you would be too Hispanic, quote unquote, to stay afloat in the industry?
I was too Hispanic the minute I started. And if you look at me, I'm güero. I look white. You know? And I would have them look at me like, oh, she's so Mexican. I think, how am I so Mexican? And it's funny because there is that thing where people look at you and think you are so foreign. I mean, foreign. They'd look at me and go, oh my God, you're so Mexican. And they would assume, well, you can play gang roles easily. It's like, well, what makes you assume that? Well, because you're Mexican, you must have grown up with gang members and all these different people. And in some ways I did, but I really didn't. And I didn't hang out with gang bangers and people like that. My family loved education. I went out and got a master's degree and a BA and all that, and I'm encouraging my children to. So I happen to love education. I have the ability to speak to everyone in every layer of society, because my mother was a waitress and my father was a sheet metal worker. So I can relate to someone who is a blue collar worker. I look at work as the highest form of purpose. We find our purpose in our work. And I made sure that if I was going to go to the entertainment, that'd be the best whatever I could be. The only, downside was I was Mexican. They couldn't get over that fact, and they still don't a lot of times. And it is in some ways a handicap. But I had a teacher that was blind when I was a kid. It was fourth grade, and she was actually blind. And I saw what someone does with a handicap, how they turned it over and make it their strength. And so I took what was considered in some ways Hollywood a handicap, and I made it my strength. I could talk about the Latino culture better than anyone. And I knew there'd be an audience for that. And I could speak to that culture because I love the culture and it's part of who I am. It's not all of me, like everyone. When no one wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to be black today, be so black, or I'm going to wake up and be Latino today. It's just a part of who you are. Like today I went to Sergio's and I got myself black beans and rice. When I'm in Miami, I'm eating Cuban food.
Yes,
that's who I am. But if I'm in Mexico City, I like sushi, or I like huitlacoche, or I like other things. And if I go to Europe, I'd probably like certain things of Italian food. So I think the problem has been not me. The problem is people have to look and understand what Latino is a complex, unique person that every human being is. I'm a complex human being, and I don't fit into categories so easily.
Yeah, most
And
definitely.
that's what I accepted about myself.
Most definitely, a lot of us, including myself, and by the way, I know a thing or two about handicap. Not only am I Cuban, but I also am left-handed. So there's also that. In college, I would get a fund for being left-handed.
Really?
Yeah, they considered me handicapped. But
Well,
I'm sorry.
I have horrible dyslexia
Oh,
where I can't see words like other people can.
yeah, my
And
wife goes through that. Abel, I know,
I
suffers from
yeah,
that as well. Yeah, I know that's definitely a thing that's definitely
n- n-
sucks.
no one's perfect, and that's
Yeah.
what our humanity is. We are imperfect people that do amazing things.
Yes, sir.
That's the way I look at it. I'm an imperfect person that does amazing things. I've been on Broadway. I've written TV shows. I've done film, which I couldn't suspect came from me. Yet I've done those things. So
When you started your career, Rick, in acting in particular, you had a stint there in General Hospital where I think you had like what, like six to eight episodes or something of that nature. And I noticed when I look at your history, you go from there, and then right after that, a few years later, is when you kind of really start getting into writing. Not that you weren't writing prior. I'm saying you kind of professionally in Hollywood, I guess, get into writing, and then of course, the first thing that I see on your list is In Living Color, which is obviously an impressive gig to start off as a writer, right? Were you disappointed that you had to get into writing in order to kind of continue your Hollywood career? Because it almost looked like you were starting to kind of take off, but wasn't quite in the acting side, and then you jumped into
well,
into writing.
yeah, I was definitely taken off. I mean, had a leader movie with George Clooney. I had tons of other stuff, but in a lot of ways, I had another skill, which was writing. And what I like to do about writing is I like to give other people opportunities. So that's who I am. I mean, I would love to see people do my work. And because of it, Latinologues was born, was a set of monologues that went all the way to Broadway. Eugenio Derbez got a start in Latinologues in Hollywood.
Oh,
Jaime Camille did Latino.
oh, did Eugenio
Did
actually get his start with your Latino logs?
Yeah,
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Eugenio. I got Eugenio his green card in our show.
No
That's
shit.
the truth.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of people got started. I mean, in Living Color, I was telling Jennifer Lopez she could be an actress. So in some ways, I did, do well as an actor, and I still do well as an actor. But the need for me really is writing. There's such a need in writing that to tell these stories right, and that's why I did. I didn't like the way Latinos were portrayed, so I wanted to write, and to write, people had to respect me, and to respect me, I had to get a lot of shows under my belt where they would go, yeah, he's a writer. They'd see that. Writers get nominations and all sorts of things that convince people I'm a writer. But I look at it and I feel writing doesn't come from me. I hear a voice, and that's my inspiration. And that really is it. I hear a voice and I write it down. So I don't feel it comes from me. I don't feel like, oh, look what I wrote. I don't feel it. I feel writing and all creativity, inspiration comes from a higher power. So if I write something beautifully, I don't think it came from me. I think I'm able to listen like a scribe and write something, and that's what I've done over the years.
Yeah, it's like
And I can,
it's kind of like you live in the moment, kind of when you're writing, right? As opposed to
yeah, you live in the
overthinking
moment.
it.
I seldom look back. The only time I ever look back is when I'm interviewed. Like, oh, you did this, you did that. And I go, yeah, I guess I did. It sounds pretty impressive. Um, I don't even remember because, like, if I'm about to go on stage and someone goes, he started this, he did this, he did that. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Najera. I'm like going, wow, that guy sounds so cool. I like to meet him
Yeah,
because I
don't
don't
don't read the bio.
really think it's me. Yeah, I don't live in the bio every single second. I tend to live in the moment. I tend to because all creative people are constantly going, oh, I'm horrible. Oh my God, it's the worst. Hope someone likes this.
Yeah.
They're racked with insecurity. But people that don't know what is great or what is inspired, because an artist looks at nature, looks at the world, looks at God, looks at words, and is impressed by them, but they don't feel it comes from them. They feel it comes from an outside source. And if you're open to, an outside source working through you, then you can do some incredible, brave work and powerful work. Because I'm not claiming it's me. I don't walk in a room and go, okay, I'm gonna write a show that's gonna be a hit. I don't know. I can say honestly that I've written so many shows that were hits and great. I have a good opportunity. I could do it, but you never know when that spark and creativity will leave you. And
when you
the one
started,
way you keep it,
I'm sorry, Rick?
yeah, the one way you keep it going is that you keep creating, and it becomes a muscle that you work out constantly, and you trust that the inspiration will happen.
When you started writing for In Living Color, I'm curious. For Living Color definitely was predominantly a black cast, and you are a Mexican white guy, like you were kind of putting it earlier, right? Coming in here and writing
Yeah.
for this show. Was it daunting? Was it something that like you were looking at almost as like a large task to go ahead and
No,
work with some of
no,
these guys?
it wasn't daunting at all. I mean, the reason is because I noticed the similarities between our cultures.
Yeah.
So didn't throw me off. I mean, people literally go into the black world and like, okay, well, there's Tupac Shakur. I feel so, white or whatever. And it's like, no, everyone's insecure. Everyone doesn't know what they're doing. No black man I ever knew woke up and said, today I'm black. Today I'm going to work on being black. I'm going to work on it. It's a natural occurrence when you accept who you are. It's just part of it. What's the hard part is people look and go, like, you're not black enough, or you're not Mexican enough, or you're not white enough. And that's someone else's opinion. If you're writing from inside out, and I was just telling my experience, and I put a black spin on it. That I wrote, Men on Film, or I wrote, Ugly Woman, Wanda character, and things like that. I would write these things, and they weren't far because everyone needs to be understood. Everyone needs to be loved. Everyone isn't as good as they should be. Everyone thinks they could be richer. 1,000 other things. We all as humans are insecure, and we all as humans are, So a lot of their humor was the same. I didn't find it terribly different than Mexican humor of my culture, or because we're ironic. We deal with a lot of things, and to pick up other cultures, you have to learn to write for them, is understand them. You have to sit there and look at whatever culture you're going to write. I wrote a monologue about a Cuban woman, and people are like, wow, how'd you write that? I was like, well, I listened. I had friends who were Cuban. I saw where the plight of certain people and what they were going through, and it had empathy, and compassion. I think that's one thing writers really have, that we care about humans. We really deeply care about humans and humanity. And if you care about humans and humanity, why wouldn't you get a culture right? Why wouldn't you write accordingly to fit that culture? I've never written anything that's a lie. I've always written the truth. And because of it, I have a knowledge of, hey, is this true? Would someone really say this? I mean, a lot of times as a writer, you go, oh, a writer would write that. I write what people say. I was in a club in Chicago. It was fight night at a club, this little kind of ghetto club. And I was there, inviting people to my show. And I heard this woman, she walks on stage to be in the boxing ring to fight another woman. She goes, hold my drink, B word, and don't hit me in the stomach, and I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh my Lord, that is the most ghetto thing I've ever heard. And she was Mexican. And so writing her story, creating a character from that, it's just listening. What's this someone want to say? Writers, we don't judge, we listen. And that's where the best writing comes from. Is words I hear in the streets.
Do you feel that?
And,
do you feel that writers? Do you feel that writers don't get enough credit for what they contribute to the whole entire process? I mean, it almost feels like sometimes we're just so apt of being in front of the screen that we just think that these things just happen, right? Do you feel like writers don't get enough credit for what they do?
no, I don't think they do. I mean, in some ways, but I also think we get a lot of credit too. A lot of times, the best writing I write is easy. And the hardest writing is the rewrite, or the lifestyle, or the, the highs and lows of Hollywood, the culture, and the problem it puts on your family to work in this business.
Yeah.
Like I'm in Miami for 2 months. I've been here. I don't see my family back in California. That tears me apart.
Yeah.
I've had to be away for months and times being my family. But at the same time, my father was a worker in federal government. He was he went to Vietnam for overtime. He was gone for a year because he wanted to make money for the family. So at the same time, I also understand how we have to sacrifice for a living. So can I say, but I can sit there and go, when it's good, I wouldn't want to do anything else. I really wouldn't. I love making people laugh. I love, the impact I have on people and how I change things. I remember I was doing my show in Broadway, and this busboy came up to me and I didn't know if I didn't tip him right or something. He wanted to talk to me, and he finally came up to me, and he says, I just want to tell you, I saw your show on Broadway. You give me a voice who has no voice. Thank you. And that was the greatest compliment I ever received. That I gave a voice to a guy that was a busboy. Because I invited the busboys at this Sardi's restaurant to come see the show, and I give them free tickets. And it meant a lot to him. And to him, it was a life-changing thing. And that life-changing thing for him was a life-changing thing. To realize, I've left something behind that people can look at. And that's the great thing of writing. There is if I go to a cave in France, I see, paintings from cavemen up on a wall, and I'm in awe of it. I go, wow, Neolithic painting, this is amazing. It's the same feeling that the person back 5,000 years ago was feeling. So I'm speaking as an artist to another artist from a different time. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So
that legacy that you leave, especially in that written form, is something that it's kind of transcending, right? I mean, through generations.
Sure.
And
If I read Dostoevsky, I know what a Russian person was thinking and feeling back then.
right.
If I read Tom, Tom Sawyer, I know if I read Anne Frank, I know what a 13-year-old girl living in an attic and her fear and hopes are at that time, and I get empathy for her. She gets empathy for me. Where it's called mirror neurons. When you have empathy for someone, you mirror them, and people that go to plays tend to give more to causes. So I'm learning empathy for and compassion for humanity, being a writer, and I can honestly say that's changed me.
When we before we move on talking about more about the plays, Latinologues a little bit, and talking about your current production with Sweet 15, I wanted to ask you, when you were at MADTV and when you were also at In Living Color.
Say it again.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Rick?
Hello.
Hey, hi. Can you hear me? Hello. Put me up louder. Can you hear me, Rick?
Did I lose you?
Oh, did we lose you, Rick? Can you hear me? Hello.
No, he's connected, but
Yeah. Rick, if you can hear me, you're connected. But if you can't hear me, then hello.
that's all right, guys. Live.
Live things happen.
Live.
Hold on. Calling Rick back. Hold on.
Yeah, man. What a great story. I mean,
Rick, can you hear
Sorry,
us?
guys.
Can you hear us? Hello?
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Hello. Hey, Rick, can you hear us?
Hello.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah, hold on. Let me Rick, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Let's continue.
Okay. All right.
So
No,
what was the question?
no, I was saying that when I apologize. Yeah, I mean things happen, right? When you're doing things remotely, it's okay. When you were in Mad TV and when you were also in Living Color, who comes to mind as the funniest cast member you wrote for that you were just like, oh man, I know anything I put out in front of this guy is just gonna be gold.
Well, I mean, Living Color was Jamie Foxx and Jim Carrey, I mean, the weigh-ins, they all were great. MADTV, I'd say Key and Peele. Those guys were hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I would write with them.
You know,
You know,
I
different
forgot there for a second that Key and Peele were in Mad TV. Like I
Yeah.
just completely that one I forgot. That's
No, that's the nature of the talent.
yeah.
Key and Peele were in Mad TV and were writing for them. That's, you know, I've been very fortunate to write with some great, you know, comedy writers. I wrote for Rodney Dangerfield. I wrote for a lot of different people who I'd be brought in to write for people and punch up their scripts and stuff like that. There is, you know, a band of brothers of what comedy is. And it all is that none of us belong where we're from. No comedian feels comfortable in their skin.
Yeah.
No one goes, you know, I'm the greatest Mexican of all time. I speak Nahuatl and Spanish.
Right.
I speak. No, we're all freaks. We're all don't fit in, and that gives you the opportunity to look at a culture from the outside and speak about it. So I don't think, you know, it's like if I would have been a perfect Mexican, I wouldn't have ended up being a writer. I
Your
would have, you know, had a
your show.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
say that again.
No, saying that your show, and I kind of want to. I just want to transition a little bit into your live productions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Your show, your Latinologues production, which started off in 2005 in Broadway. I noticed that one aspect about Latinologues is that it seems to be a little self-deprecating, sort of like the Hispanic experience, but with a comedic twist and on purpose, right? For us to laugh at our own things, right? And I'm wondering when you were on In Living Color, you know what I mean? Keenan Ivory Wayans kind of created a show that would make fun itself of Black culture and Black absurdities. Was Latinologues something that you lined up with that experience that you picked up from In Living Color?
Well, the thing that, you know, all comedy is you're able to make fun of yourself, because if you're vulnerable, you lead with your vulnerability. If I did a show called The Pain of the Macho, and I started out coming on stage in my underwear with getting a mani-pedi and saying I love musical theater. Yeah, which is saying I'm not very macho at all, and that disarms an audience. That an audience goes, "Wow, you're able to say what we can't say," you know, and that disarms it. And in that position, you can say some really cutting things that really cut to the bone of what being any culture and being a human is. Lead with your vulnerability. Sit there and say, you know, I did a Showtime special talking about my kids, and I'm like, I'm a weird dad. I don't know how to really tell my kids. Like, you know, like one day I came home and I'm like, hey, you guys have to listen to me. I'm your father. They weren't listening to me, and my little daughter went, wow, I did not see that coming. Boy, he got really angry there. Did you see that coming? And so they were gone. And I'm like, wow, now I got to be, you know, I was laughing. They disarmed me with laughter. But I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm blustering and I'm trying to act like a father and no one's listening to me right now. And that's true of most fathers, you know, where your kids are looking at you like, Dad, I don't know what this guy's talking about. So that's vulnerable. That's leading with who you are. And I think the mistake is we as comedians normally talk about, you know, our vulnerability. If the mistake is if we act like we're perfect, because no one wants to, you know, I was on stage and I was talking about, oh yeah, you know, you're married.
We lost him again.
Rick again. Hey Rick, are you back? Can you hear us? Uh-oh. Hey Rick, can you hear us? Hello,
Guys,
hey, can you hear us?
can you hear me?
Or did you get bombed in Kabul?
Can you hear us, Rick?
Hello.
No, can't hear you. Here, Rick, I'll call you back.
Yeah, I heard it was really bad over there this time of year.
Yeah,
It's got to be the satellites.
I got you now.
There we
Hey
go.
Rick, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Live from
Yeah.
Kabul.
Abel had asked if you had gotten bombed in Kabul. That's why.
Yeah, I got bombed in Kabul. I'm okay.
Thank you.
I tucked and rolled.
As long as you do that, you're fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I just dusted myself off and got back in the Humvee.
That's Latins for you.
Yeah, lead with your vulnerability.
Yes,
That's
sir.
will make an audience love you,
Does
because we all are insecure,
does
and we all have faults, and we all are not perfect human beings. We are, you know, mankind. Not to be philosophical, but I tend to be. Is is the idea of sin is missing the mark. It is not being perfect. And I look at God and a creative being. The beauty is the creative being forgives us for our imperfections and makes our imperfections sometimes our strongest points about us. So
yes,
I
sir.
accept people that are imperfect, and I accept characters that are imperfect, and I accept plots that are imperfect, because no one started off to be perfect. We try to, but you soon learn you can't be. I try to be the best father I am. Sometimes I'm not. I try to be the best, all these different best friend, all these things. But the humanity always kind of, um, it makes me fail, and then I, brush myself off again, and get up and try to live a life.
Yeah,
And
that seems to be the gripe of comedians is the torture of it all is what makes it quote unquote funny, right? And is what makes it relatable to
yeah,
everyone because everyone's going through some kind of torture in life. Ri-
if I walk on stage and say, women love me, who's gonna applaud that? If I go, hey man, no, I was the last guy picked in a sports challenge. I was, I never could get a date. I mean, Rodney Dangerfield did it really well. I gave him no respect. Everyone in America related to that,
Rick,
because no matter who you are, you never felt you had enough respect.
we have
And
we have and I know so we're coming up close. So I apologize, Rick. I mean, we had some issues technically in the beginning, and then I know you have your production tonight that starts I think at 8, and we
yeah,
have our show that starts at 7. So I'm trying to like I promise we had a lot more questions and things to deep dive in with you. So, but I'm just gonna cut it just a little bit short, just so we could kind of make time with everything that we have going on.
sure.
So I mean, I hope that maybe who knows somewhere in the future there could even be maybe an in-person round 3 where we could properly sit down and get into very philosophical conversations with Rick.
Well, I would love that, guys. Let's just say this is the part one of our interview.
Yes, sir.
I'll come on your show anytime.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
no,
Rick.
and you've been a big supporter of ours as well, Rick, and we want to thank you for that. I just want to make a quick note of that, Rick. Someone like Rick Najera with with his background and experiences and everything, even knowing who we are has been kind of a big wow for us. So
It
we,
really
we
is.
appreciate you, sir, very
Uh,
much.
Thank
Um,
you, guys. Been an
Rick,
honor to be.
Rick, thank you so much. So I want to just jump really, make the transition and talk about your Sweet 15 show if I could. Your production is running until the end of this week.
Yeah, it's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and this will be the production. Your last chance to see it this week. I would say buy tickets. Go on www.sweet15show.com, and I'm sure you can give it to your listeners.
Yes, sir.
But really, is a unique show to see. It's in Spanglish. It's Cuban all over it, and the cast is incredible. They're so good. Ruben Rabasa from Ant-Man and tons of things. Renee Laban, amazing writer, not writer, producer, and star. I mean, it just goes on and on. Roberto
Hmm.
Escobar, Margarita Cohigo,
She's awesome.
uh, just on and on and on. But I would say try to see it this weekend. You're going to have an interactive Quinceañera experience where you'll be there. And I would say it's a show I'm very proud of. And it's slated to go off Broadway and to keep growing. So this is your last chance to go see Sweet 15 Gay Quinceañera this weekend.
That's excellent. I know Abel's already checked it out. I'm going to be there this Saturday. I'm heading down from Gainesville to go watch it. Um, and I'm super excited to go be a part of that. What I'm wondering, Rick, is when you were writing this show, obviously it's meant to be interactive. The audience is kind of almost feels like they're a part of the party, the whole thing. Were you nervous a little bit? I mean, you have some of these guys. It's like you mentioned Ruben Rabasa, Ant-Man, Rene Lavang, Roberto Escobar. These people, like these guys are not some schlubs. You know what I mean? They have like nothing under their belt, no
Oh
resume.
no,
Were you a little
I'm not.
nervous having the audience so close to
They,
the actors?
yeah, they joke around with me a lot. I mean, I'm a good director that they feel comfortable to joke around with me. And no, I wasn't nervous at all, to tell you the truth, because I'm not nervous because they're professional. They're really good. So
But more from like the audience, like wanting to like like I don't know, get a little bit too tipsy and like want to run up and like start acting with somebody on at a moment's time or something crazy
No,
like
I
that.
will say something. What I experienced, which was funny as shit too, the stuff that the audience scream out while the people are acting, it is hilarious. That interaction of the actors with the
Yeah,
crowd.
the interaction is perfect, and I'm not scared of it. I encourage it. I encourage it. And audiences love it.
That's
So
excellent.
it's been a great show. So come this weekend.
That's excellent.
Come this weekend. All right, guys, I got to go in rehearsal right now.
Thank you,
Yes,
Rick.
sir. Yes, sir, Rick. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
guys.
making the time for us. We appreciate you once again, and hope we could talk in just in more depth in the future.
And viva la raza.
Yes, sir. Viva
Viva
Chicanos.
Si se puede.
Órale, no manches. All right, Rick. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Appreciate you. Round of applause for Rick. All right. Ooh,
that
the
was
microphone is away. I'm over here on
awesome.
vacation mode.
Yeah, you're chilling. You were watching.
I was watching that
You
whole
were
thing.
watching.
I was thinking to myself, we're gonna play this interview, and I'm gonna go hang out, get in the hammock.
Oye, Charlie, ya puedes llamar, brother.
Charlie, por favor, papo, ya, para joder ya, te va llamando constantemente.
Dale, ve y llama que te vamos a contestar.
During the break. Ahora que puede, llama, coño. Mira, 352-234-4888. That's our number. If you want to go ahead and call us. If you want to talk about the interview with Rick Najera, or Rick Naranjo, as he's known around the Cepeda household.
The Cepeda household.
Oh, here we go.
All right, let's hear it. Let's put it up.
I'm getting a phone call here. Hold on a second.
Vamos.
We're going to patch you through. ¿Qué bandos?
Hey, it's Charlie.
Hey, Charlie. What's up, brother? How can we help you?
Dale. Oye, long time listener, first time caller.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoyed the show.
Welcome to the Neil Rogers Show.
Thank you. How can we help you?
There you go.
Oye, I heard you're a fan of Abel's. Is that true?
I've known Abel since he looked the same way about, Abel, what is it, 30 years ago?
Coño, yeah, man. DHL days when we all were working at DHL, it was like 92, 93. I don't know. It was a while back already. 94. I mean, 96.
Bro,
Yeah,
in
little
90,
kids at our knees running around.
yeah, bro. In 93, I was what, 10 years old. I was playing in Tamiami baseball, bro. And you guys were working at DHL.
We were working at DHL slinging packages. Slinging the packages. We were mailmen.
And the beers at night.
And the beers at night. We were moonlighting, drinking and we used to go back to the warehouses, bro. Y metíamos una clase de nota, bro.
Yeah.
Y después ir a trabajar el próximo día a las 6 de la mañana, man.
No joda.
Reventado.
Put me Charlie up the volume. Because
Para que no pueda, dile a Charlie que no lo oigo, que se ponga.
Yeah. No, I can hear Charlie now, probably.
Con 3 micrófonos en la boca, Charlie.
Oye, Charlie, did you?
No. I'm committed.
Dímelo, bro.
Nah, but listen, the funny thing is about Hispanics, when you live in a place like Miami, like I've lived since 71, here, people are a little more spread out. I moved out to Ohio for 3 years. Somebody would listen to you talk Spanish, they were interested. You had no idea where the hell they were from. And I don't know, there's something about if you find somebody that talks the same language with you, they're like, there's so little of us here, let's join up together.
Yeah.
In Miami, it's so much,
Yeah.
It isn't like it used to be,
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea where Abel was from. We never went around going, "Hey, where are you from?"
Right. No, yeah, I told Abel once. So I had a time period where I lived in Vegas for 2 years, and when I was in Miami, growing up in Miami, I got sick and tired, bro, of like the Hispanic, Spanish speaking shit. Like I was like, oh, bro, I just want to be like, not white, because I don't want to say that, but I wanted to be American. I just wanted to live my life, and I was tired of all this fucking, just Hispanicness. You know what I mean? And then when I got to Vegas, bro, no pasaron ni 3 meses, and I was the most Hispanic guy in my square block. I was playing reggaeton out the window at stoplights. I was obnoxious, and it was weird. It was like the more I was away from the routine of the culture, the more that it was just oozing out of my pores. You know what I mean? It's like a weird phenomenon.
Phenomena.
I totally understand. When I moved, no, mama, no. When I moved to Ohio, I had the radio going, playing Buena Vista Social Club.
Wow, that's pretty Cuban,
All
bro.
these white people looking at me, going, "I don't like that kind of music," but for some reason, I started playing it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was so. I understand. I understand. Like you want to get away from it, but not too much. You know.
Yeah, no, y la cosa que ha pasado Abel aquí en Gainesville, I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
yeah,
Very,
Gainesville,
very bad.
Abel has had to. We were talking about the self-deprecating stuff that Rick was talking about earlier with Latino Logs when he wrote that play, and it's like we mentioned, Rick kind of created that play in a way where he was, making fun of Hispanic culture, in its own right, the same way that Keenan Ivory Wayans was making fun of Black culture in In Living Color, you know what I mean, and that whole kind of angle. And Abel's over here telling me, between us when we were having conversations, he was like, "Well, bro, that's how I had to live my life in Gainesville. I had to basically walk into places and be like, damn these Hispanics, right? They're so lazy."
Yeah, it's like self-deprecating joke that he was talking about. That's how I was able to break the ice with a lot of people. Like, hey guys, Puerto Rican when I walking into the bar, everybody hide your wallets, and then everybody would lose their laughing, and that's it. And then they will welcome you.
Yeah,
but that's that's one of the things. And then you have those that wanna bed you, and then you're like, "Oh, speak to me in Spanish. It sounds so exotic."
Hey, papi, please.
It's exotic.
Yeah.
And then you have those, bro.
The funny thing is, still friends with him. He calls me my brother. In Ohio, a black guy. Became great friends. He told me, "You need to come to me to this family party." I'm like, "Why?" And I'm like, "There's going to be 100 white people, and there's going to be one black guy, me." I'm like, "All right, I'm up for it." We're sitting there. We're having a good time. All of a sudden, one of the family members goes, "Where you from?" I'm like, "I'm Cuban." He goes, "Did you come in a raft?" I go, "No, motherfucker. There were planes when I was born."
Raft with wings. Did you get your ass beat, Charlie?
No. Guess what? They started laughing at him.
Oh.
I still talk to this man today, and they still laugh about that. Like, how the hell are you going to have somebody come to our house and try to disrespect them?
Oh, well, welcome to
they're
the white
welcome
party
here. And you had one idiot in there.
Well, that's why you guys probably got invited, because they needed the token black dude and the token Latino. I mean, so it makes a good joke. One black guy and one Cuban guy walk into a bar.
Well, at least it wasn't a bank, huh?
Oh shit! Well, now that you with Mike, is Mike there with you? You hanging out with Mike Harris?
No.
Did he haul ass?
Mikey called me. No, he called me. He called me, and I told him about the show, and he was watching it, and we've been texting back and forth.
Spread the word, puto.
Yeah.
No, when are you? Does he live in Gainesville?
No, he's from Miami. He was the guy that he at one time that I was telling you maybe he would be interested in being our correspondent guy down there to cover the baseball games and basketball games, because
Yeah. Okay, I thought he was in Gainesville, but be like, well.
No, so he was in Miami, said
it. Yeah, bro. I've only been here for I've only been here for about Westchester, bro. I've only been here for about 3 years, bro. So I'm still acclimating to being away from South Florida, and I think this show is me acting out Vegas style, if you get what I mean. This is my reggaeton playing out. This is my reggaeton playing out the window, bro.
Yeah.
Doing the show from Gainesville. Yeah. Gainesville.
Well, I look like Abel. We don't look Cuban, so sometimes they just talk to me in English. I got a beer belly, white beard, and
tremenda chiva que tienes también, brother. Una chiva ahí que parece una brocha.
¿Viste? Pero bueno,
Charlie,
dale, bro.
Thanks
for the call, brother. We appreciate you calling in, man.
All right.
Dale, papo.
Dale, que te crezca.
Bro.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, man. I mean, the show was a shit show. Literally,
bro,
was a fucking shit show.
Le caga.
But I think I'm happy with the way the way we ended. And what does Anna say here? Whoa, such a bummer because human heritage. Oh, I think they're having full blown conversations over here between peeps as we're having the show. And
that's fantastic. Yeah,
that's great.
That's what we want, guys. To open up conversation.
Yeah, man. This show, one of the things we're lacking so far, one of the things we got to do better at. I think, admittedly, between Abel and I, and we work every week to be better.
Yes, we do.
Is to engage, the audience more. Have you guys call in? Have you guys, chime in on the chat, which I think is slowly happening, and I think over time will be better. So always feel free to give us a call. If we don't answer, it's probably because we're probably just in the middle of a conversation or something,
Or in the bathroom.
or in the bath.
Sorry, wrong button. Bullshit.
Yeah. Yep. But anyways, yeah, the great Rick Najera was on with us, and once again, I'm very thankful for him being on here on a show with us, talking to Come Mierdas here. Just once again, it's just kind of like I reflect on it, and I'm just like, there's this dude.
You're tripping, bro.
I'm tripping, man. I'm like, there's this dude who's like has this huge resume with all this stuff and has worked with all these people, and here it is, Abel and I just having this little lowly show. And
you know why? And I'll tell you why. Because greatness knows greatness, baby.
Yeah.
This thing is going to the next level. Guys, always remember 352-234-4888. Call us. Tomorrow we'll have Mr. Red.
Mr. Rojo will be on with us. I wish I would have had the promo up. You'll check it out on Instagram. And we also got to do a better job of this now, since we're changing our show format a little bit.
Go ahead.
Please, those of you that are watching us, whether you're on Facebook or on Instagram, head on over to YouTube, please, and subscribe to our channel.
Subscribe, and share. Share.
It's youtube.com/@CubanDudes with the little ampersand. Hopefully
we're gonna get merch too, guys. We're gonna be probably making hats, God willing, all that jazz.
Yeah. And who knows, we might even run a promo. Maybe those of you that subscribe and follow us on YouTube, since that is such a big deal for us, maybe you will randomly just pick somebody and be like, oye, you know what I mean? Te ganaste la croqueta.
Te ganaste el cocotazo de la semana.
El cocotazo. There's like all these conversations going on here.
Good, that's good.
That's people viewing here. I almost want to be like, hey guys, just talk amongst yourselves. We'll just hang out.
No, we're about to
we're about to peace on out.
Yep.
So thank you guys so much for chiming in and being a part of the show, calling in. Charlie, thank you so much for the phone call. Rick, once again, thank you so much, sir. I'll see you on Saturday. And we are outie, guys. We are outie. El Cuban Dudes Show with Andy and Abel. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@CubanDudes, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram @CubanDudes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.